Hi, Marco Di Stefano here, and welcome to this new video of the Virtual Orchestration series. This is another behind the scene of my latest composition, which is called Flooded Memories. The composition is based on this picture, and the story that I had in mind when composing this song is about this boy which is remembering of a moment where he went fishing with his father on the high sea, and he is remembering this with a very high melancholy. So we don't know why, but he's like thinking that maybe this is not going to happen anymore, or he would like just to happen it again, but it's not possible. Let's listen now to the composition, and let me also give you a bit description of the song during the listening. So since the beginning I wanted to recall the water element, and so I'm using these instruments, and there is this music box with a delay which is remembering like some drops of water falling down. And then there is this cello coming in which materialize the idea, the memory. Of course, as you can hear, I wanted to keep everything in the Eastern style to be more linked with the character. And here there is a crescendo that then will bring again to the main theme. Here it is, again the main theme, this time with more strings and with some pizzicato to give a bit of freedom. So here you can see that the orchestration makes it very clear that we are in an Eastern style. And again here you have the crescendo, but this time with these trumpets, which is evoking something like the idea that of something far, which comes closer and closer to you. Imagine you're looking a boat far away on the sea. First it's just a small light, and then you start to see the details, and then it comes closer and closer, and you see what it is. Voila, and then this is introduced the moment where the memory is there and starts to be clear. So imagine you are this boy and you are in a boat far away on the sea with your father, fishing, having an amazing day at the end of the day, sunset, with the bells of the village very far away, all surrounded by seagulls which are making this strange noise. And you suddenly realize that this is just a memory, and that was a very special moment that you would like to live again. And so you are in full melancholy. And then reality starts to call you, and you come back to reality. Of course, I'm using the same initial elements of the composition to make the idea that we are just back to the reality and the memory is finished. And now you have the theme, which this time is played with woodwinds, which gives a more calm, cold thinking. So it's clearly the moment in which you are thinking about something and now you see it from the outside. And this final crescendo here is like telling you, yes, that was a great moment. I really wish you were here and we could live that again. that's it. Let's start now to analyze the composition in itself. So as you can see, there are not a lot of instruments in this one. And this one on top, they are not yet part of my orchestral template, while the others are. So woodwinds, brass and strings and percussion. As you know, I'm using a Vienna Ensemble Pro, so where I load all the instruments with the contact instances. So you can see here, for example, in the woodwinds instance, I have my instrument channels, where you can see that actually they are enabled only the ones that I'm really using. And for each of them, there is the right microphone selection, depending on the track. And all this goes with about 25 gigabyte of RAM. I have 32, so I'm really managing to reach my limits. The first instrument that you hear in this composition is the titanium Euphone from Spitfire Audio. So look at this. Here it is. And all along the composition I'm using automations, so to change the expressions, the dynamics and the other parameters of the instruments in order to have kind of movements all around, because this is like a sort of pedal, so you will hear that it's over all the composition. The second instrument that you hear is a music box, also from the Spitfire labs. You have actually two instances, one which is playing this pattern, and then there is another one where there is only the bass note. Why I'm doing this is because the volume is different between the two, so I needed to have this split. And on this music box you have some delay, which you can hear. And the next instruments is from Spitfire Audio Alternative Strings. Is a cello, which is actually introducing the main theme, where of course there is automations which are done for the modulation and expression. So here this is a long alternative. It's not set, but it's by default. There are also some percussion instruments here from Spitfire Percussion. In this one is the instruments which is made of all the metal instruments. For the next part, which is the Crescendo, I'm using for the first time these Spitfire audio libraries, which is the EVO grid number 3. It's about strings in motion. So listen. You can see how this is done in Contact. So you have different variations which are chosen for each set of notes. And you can see there is also the crescendo here with expression and modulation. And during this crescendo you can hear an instrument which has a very ethereal sound, which is a baltophone. This is not from Spitfire Audio. It's this one. So it's a very simple melody here. Just wanted to give a bit of ambience. So let's put now all together. Yes, and I forgot to say that here we have also a felt piano, which is adding on top of the music box, also with the same delay. So listen together. And from now there is again the main theme, which is coming back, but this time is played with 3 instruments from the Spitfire alternative solo strings. Namely, these are violin, viola and cello. And the way they are orchestrated is very simple. So one is going 2 octave up, and the one is 1/4 at the fourth of the main theme. And then you have here this very basic and simple melody, which starts very soft and then becomes more louder and louder, and it's very important in the crescendo. As usual, I want to show you that I'm using automations, expression and modulation mainly for this library, because we don't have the vibrato. And then that also on top of this solo, you have also some pizzicato, which actually here are done with the Spitfire chamber strings. I'm using the professional version, and I'm using the alternative microphones in this one. And this pizzicato gives some rhythm to the song. Let's listen the 5 of them together. So this one is the violins 1, violins 2, violas. This is the celli and basses. And then on the low part we have also Hans Zimmer. We have actually the 20 cellos on the galleries, which are playing pizzicato, which is going on along almost all the composition. So let me show you the microphones I'm using for this one. Here it is. Voilà, I'm using mainly these 4 microphones. Beautiful sound. I'm very convinced that the Hans Zimmer strings can add what the other strings library cannot. In this part we have also some woodwinds, which are playing. Mainly they are playing the chords. So this one is the Herrmann toolkit, mixed flutes. And then here we also have the EVO Grid 4, which is about moving woodwinds. So this is how it looks like in Contact, where you actually choose the articulation for each of the notes. And now let's put all together. And then there is another moment of crescendo, which I told before represent the moment in which the memory, which maybe at that moment is still far, comes closer and closer to this boy. And to implement this, I love to use a trumpet, which is actually from the Spitfire Labs. It's called Trumpet Field. so we can listen to it. As you have seen, there is also the EVO grid here, so I want to let you listen to this alone. And now let's listen to the EVO 4 alone. And to finish with this part, now let's put all the instruments together. And with this, we go to the part where there is the memory which comes alive. And for this part, actually, I took a bit more liberty from the Eastern style composition. So I use a chord progression, which is not that very Eastern one. And I wanted to have a chord progression which builds up and then actually there is a huge change of emotions. And of course some dissonance, almost atonal here. Also, I'm using here again the Spitfire Labs trumpet fills, and I'm using an articulation which reminds me very much of the sounds of these seagulls that make when you are surrounded by them. Because I wanted really to give the impression of being lost in the sea, surrounded by all these noises. This is actually exactly the same harmonic progressions which is played by the EVO. Another important and evocative instrument of this part is these tubular bells, which are playing, like I said before, they are like the bell of the village which is playing far away, and that you can hear actually with a lot of reverb. It's a very far away reverb. So let's listen to them. It's always playing with the same rhythm. that's it for this part. Now let's listen all together. So now that you know what I had in mind, just close your eyes and imagine you are in this environment, lost in the sea, seagulls, the village, sunset. And here something is calling us from this hypnotic moment to the reality. So typically something like sadness or melancholy. And now, to show that we are back to the reality, I'm using exactly the same element of before, but I'm introducing a new instrument, which is the celeste, which is doubling the music box. And also now the main theme is not played anymore by the strings, but by woodwinds. So this is the celeste together with the music box. Still the two have the same delay. So let's listen to what it looks like, the melody played by the woodwinds. So this is a alto flute, flute, bass flute, and then later on also the piccolo flute. And the way they are playing is similar to the way the strings were playing before. And here it approaches the ends, and so you can see the piccolo flute which is entering. And that's it. Maybe another things I want to show here is that I'm also using the tubular bells at the end, because I want to link a bit the reality with the memory. And also here you have again the Hans Zimmer pizzicato 20 cellis on the galleries. Which is a Crescendo, and together with actually an articulation from the Spitfire orchestral swarm. Finally, I have also a percussion instrument, this time from the Hans Zimmer Percussion. And that's it for the composition. The next things I want to show you is the way the mixer and the way I'm using the reverb. So for this track, differently from the others, I'm using two auxiliary channels for the reverb. One which is a normal reverb and another one which is a far away reverb. Because there are some instruments which actually I wanted to be closer to you and others which I wanted to be more far away. And this is the reverb that I'm usually using, so LA Studio from Reverence, Cubase. And there is also a delay, which, as I told you, I'm applying to some of the instruments, mainly the music box and some of the percussions. So you can hear the delay. And now let me put in solo just the faraway reverb, so to show how it is used. So you can hear it's the alternative strings. And then what it remains on the normal reverb maybe is mainly is the Euphone, the music box, and the felt piano, which are on the normal reverb. So as you can see, concerning the use of the reverb, it really depends on composition per composition. Sometimes I've been using just one single reverb for all the tracks. In this one I really wanted to give a clear separation between what is close and what is far away. A bit like thinking about a split between the dreams and reality. And that's it for today. So I hope that you had something interesting to see in this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.